When a new lead comes into your business, every minute you delay replying lowers your chances of ever converting them. I use SEO to get my relocation business ranking on the front page of Google, and this brought in a steady flow of high-value leads. But the problem with this was our small team couldn't keep up with replying manually, and so valuable deals were slipping through the cracks. So to handle this, I built this auto-reply workflow in Make.com. It responds like a human to new leads, so you don't forget to do it. It puts them on your email list if they give you permission to do so, and it's helped us save deals worth over $10,000. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to set it up step by step, and you can also grab the free template in the description so you can build it or adapt it for yourself. Ready? Let's go. Here is the full workflow set up already in Make.com. And to start with, I'm just going to show you this in action so you understand exactly what each part of it does before I start building it from scratch. Everything starts in a jot form, which is this orange module here. This is embedded in a blog post. So, for example, when somebody lands on this blog post on the Digital Emigre website, they're reading the post and then they get a call to action here, a button, to request more information on available projects. When they click that, it takes them to a form and they fill in their name, email, and other details. This form is linked to this module in Make.com, which is watching for submissions. So whenever a form is submitted, it captures that information immediately. Then this ChatGPT module correctly capitalizes the first name of the lead. You know how some people enter their details all in capitals or all in small letters or something like that. And then when that gets picked up in the auto response email, it's immediately a giveaway, right? That it's coming from an autoresponder because everything's in capitals. I've got a very simple prompt here and I'm using the cheapest model, GPT 3.5 Turbo. Not very smart, but it doesn't need to be because this is a very simple task. And I tell it to output only the correct name and nothing else. So we can feed it directly into the next stage. Now, this purple module here is a sleep module, and I've got it set up for a 90-second delay. Why do I do that? Because a 90-second delay, or it could be longer if you want, makes it look more like a human is responding, right? If it's an instantaneous email, and this is quite a long email, it's not going to be believable that a human is actually sending it. So that is very simple, but it plays an important role. Then we've got an email module that sends an email with a call to action for them to book a call with the partner in this case. We've set this up to hook into our business Gmail account. We've got the lead's email here and then the partner's emails here. This is what the email looks like. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of detail there. You couldn't have written that instantaneously. It basically gives them a link to book a call with the partner and their information is captured here. This is very important because this is really what's doing all the heavy lifting and saving our team from having to write that out manually each time. Then another thing that's very important is adding that subscriber or that lead automatically to the newsletter, but only doing this if they actually agree to be added. That's very important. This actually happens back in the form, which is here. There's a checkbox that asks if they want to join the mailing list for news and insights on moving to Portugal. And if they click yes, please, that is then picked up in this filter here between the email and the next step, which is adding them to the mailing list. So just to show you what that filter looks like, it's called add to newsletter. And the condition is if that box, do you want to join our mailing list? If it's equal to yes, please, then that will be let through into the next step to add the subscriber to the form. Now I'm using ConvertKit here, or Kit as it now calls itself, but you can pretty easily substitute whatever email list provider that you're using yourself. Basically, it picks up the information from the first module here where the information came in, and it lets you add that to whichever tag in ConvertKit that you're using, and it has your custom fields here if you're using that. So we'll set this up in a minute from scratch, so you'll see how to build it. And then finally, the last stage in the puzzle is to add it to the CRM. For the purposes of this, we're using a very simple Google Sheet. That's a very simple way of doing it. Of course, you may have a more sophisticated CRM, but again, in Make.com, it's pretty easy to substitute and hook in whichever one you're using. That's the workflow. I'm just going to do a quick demo here with my own email, just to see it in action. So we'll use my Gmail. Let's say soon as possible, and then we'll say yes please. So that should get added to the ConvertKit list. So we click submit and that gets sent. There we go. The module here is watching for submissions, right? That should automatically be running because it's set up to do so. Let's just see if it's done anything automatically. Remember, it's going to take 90 seconds here. We can actually speed it up. Okay, we didn't need to do that because it's already landed in the inbox. So here we are, new inquiry. Here it is. It came from Jotform. It's got my details here. My email, my citizenship, approximate budget, as soon as possible, and yes please to joining the mailing list. And there we go, that's how it works. So you can see that leads get responded to automatically. And this would be me. I would be seeing this as the person who had sent the inquiry. Thanks for your inquiry, Sam. And here you go, you see that I've got the whole email here as a test and all the information here. This really saves time and we don't have to mess around with manually responding to leads. So yeah, let's check Kit to see if I've shown up in there. Yep, here I am at the top, Sam. I'm right there on the list. And now I'm going to start from scratch. I'm just going to show you exactly how to build this in make.com from scratch. You can also just jump over to the description and you can grab the full template and upload this into make.com yourself to make it really, really easy. So if you go and do that, then you can follow along. Okay, here we are in make.com and I'm going to show you how to build this from scratch. So let's create a new scenario and the trigger is going to be Jotform. Watch for submissions. Now this is an instant trigger, so as soon as somebody fills out the form and clicks submit, this will immediately get picked up by this trigger and it will fire the scenario automatically. So this is what we want to go for. Now, you don't have to use Jotform here. I just bought a subscription to it a few months ago for a year, so I'm stuck with it for a while now. You could also use Typeform, maybe Google Forms. There's a ton of different form builders out there that are good. For the purpose of this demonstration, we'll go with Jotform. They're all more or less the same. I'm going to choose a webhook. Let's make a demo here. Demo webhook. So we give the webhook a name, we choose my main connection. If you haven't already connected your Jotform, you'll just need to click add and it should automatically guide you through how to connect. It should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to choose the form now. And okay, I need to create a form first. So let's jump into Jotform and create a new simple form. Let's just do it as simply as possible. Okay, I'm going to have to delete an existing form here. Just delete this one. Okay, yeah, one of the downsides with Jotform is they only let you have 25 forms, which is kind of annoying, but let's just do a classic form to keep things simple. There we go. So as you can see, this is already set up for my company. You would obviously have your own logo and have it set up for your own organization. But let's just keep this very simple. We're going to drag and drop some fields from the lists here. And we're going to have, what's your name? Then we're going to follow it up with, what's your email? Finally, we'll put something in for your message. What's your inquiry about? Something like that. And then the last thing is we need to give them a multiple choice. Do you want to join our newsletter for weekly updates? Okay, and yes or no. We'll get rid of the others. This is important because this is going to be part of the flow later on. So let's get that, drag it above the button. Okay, so that's a very simple form. And give it a name. Do a quick preview. As you can see, it's a really simple one. Okay. As you can see, we've refreshed it and now YouTube demo has popped up in the list. This is a webhook that allows me to kind of hook into that form and to access it and to pull data from the form directly into make.com. So I'm going to select that and I'm going to click save. Okay, there we go. This is all hooked up. So I'm going to click save there. And then we need to add the next module. Next up, we have a ChatGPT module. And the goal of this is to just process that first name to make sure that it's looking like a human wrote it. So basically to deal with any capital letters or any situations where it's all in lowercase. We're going to create a completion, and for the model, we are going to go for a really fast and cheap one. GPT 3.5 Turbo is usually good. Max completion tokens can be 1,000 because this is going to be a very short and basic task. We'll just go straight for user here, and I already saved the prompt right here. Okay, add that here, and then let's make sure it's connecting to the right piece of information from here. Okay, we've got what's your name? So as you can see, that's exactly the same as the question that we originally set up in Jotform, coming straight from here. And we need to map that field. So first name is the one that it's going to be operating on. Okay, and then make sure to output only the correct name and nothing else whatsoever, because this is going to go straight into the email that we send automatically later. Okay, so let's save that. We're going to just save the whole scenario. Okay, so now we've done these two modules. We need to put in a delay before it actually sends the email, because as I said before, it's not very human-like if it automatically fires off an email as soon as they submit the form, right? We need to make this believable. We're going to add a sleep module, which just delays the execution for a period of time of our choice. So let's just put 90 seconds. And again, you can, I think, go up to 300 with this. So you've got quite a lot of flexibility there. Click Save. Next up, we can add the email module. I prefer to use email rather than Gmail. The email is built in into Make. There's also the Gmail one, but that can be like kind of unpredictable, and I don't think it has as many options as this one. So this is my go-to. So we're going to click Send a new email. Okay, there's a lot of things here. So you will have your own email account, of course. So you'll just need to click Add here and go through the settings to add this, depending on what your email account is, whether it's a Gmail business, Microsoft or others. So it should be fairly easy just to follow the instructions and get that done, and the online help of make.com can guide you as well. Let's just select this one, which is another one of mine. I'll save message after sending. This is just to keep track of things. I'm gonna make sure the connections are the same as each other. A folder could be just inbox. Okay, so what we want it to do is to send a reply to the person who submitted the form, right? So the first email address here has to be the email that comes from the form. So we can map it from the Jot form like so, with what's your email. Subject line can be thanks for your inquiry. And if you want, you can even put first name here. Actually, we're not going to map straight from the Jot form for first name. We are going to map it from the ChatGPT module, just in case the name was all capitals or all lowercase. So we'll test this later, but thanks for your inquiry, Sam, or whoever. For content type, I prefer plain text just because it's cleaner and easier. And then again, we're going to do hi, first name. Thanks for your inquiry. Please book a convenient time. Terrible at typing manually. Calendar link here. And then, I don't know, let's say I insert my cal.com link. There we go. Of course, you can make this email much more personable. This is just a very basic one for the purposes of the demonstration. There we go. Okay, so, I mean, this could be sent by a human, right? It's a bit brief and perfunctory, but that's okay. We don't need to add any attachments. Yeah, I think we can add another recipient. So if we have like a partner, like I had in the demonstration, or if we want to copy it to someone else in our company or another email address that we own, we can add it here. Maybe I'll copy my Gmail just so we can see. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so that's the email setup basically done. Okay, after the email, we need to put it into our email newsletter provider. So mine is Kit, ConvertKit. Yours might be GetResponse or ActiveCampaign or whatever. They all have modules in Make. So we should be able to do that pretty easy. Okay, so in ConvertKit, I'm going to add the subscriber to a form. So I already have mine set up. Again, if you haven't, you'll need to click add and set it up to either your ConvertKit account or whatever other email provider you're using with a different module. So let's find the ID of a form. I'll do it to my newsletter here. Okay, so then we need to map their email again, which we can get from the original Jot form, and the first name we'll map from the ChatGPT module to make sure that's normalized with the right capitalization. If we have any tags we want to use, we can add the tags here, but these need to be set up beforehand actually in Kit itself. And if you have any custom fields, you can add them here. I can add last name because I already had that set up. Country of citizenship was from another demo, so we won't use that one. So yeah, let's save that. And the last thing we need to do is add that to our CRM. And for the purposes of this demo, we're using Google Sheets for that to keep it nice and simple. We are just going to quickly set that up with a few fields. Here's a new sheet. So let's have first name, last name, email, date, message. Okay. So there we go. We're looking decent. All right, cool. Now let's just see if we can pick that up in this module. So first we make sure we're connected to the right one. Okay, I need to switch my connection to my other one. Again, you'll need to click add and go through the steps to make sure you add your own here. So I'm going to select from my path. I think it's just in my drive and it should come up just here. So yeah, YouTube demo CRM. Here you can also go into folders if you have folders, but I'm just keeping it in a very obvious place. And the sheet will be sheet 1, and table does contain headers, yes, and then that will bring up the headers that I just plugged in. And then we can just decide what data we're going to put in them. For first name, I'll go for the normalized one. Last name, well, we haven't normalized last name because we don't really need it, so I'll just take it from Jot form directly. Email will come from Jot form. Date, we can insert today's date using the now variable. Message, we'll have to go back to Jot form and pick up what's your inquiry about. There we go. And that's it. That's everything for the CRM. Of course, you can hook it to all kinds of different CRMs like Monday.com, ClickUp, HubSpot, whatever else you're using. But again, I'm just keeping this very basic. So let's click save and we're almost done. We just need to do one more thing, which is make sure that the ones going through to our mailing list are only the ones who have agreed to it. That's very important, right? That's why I've got this newsletter yes or no selection box on the form. So let's jump over here. Between the email and between Kit, we're going to add a filter. We'll add to mailing list. And the condition is going to be, again from the form, it's going to be, do you want to join our newsletter for weekly updates? And we need to know if it's equal to yes. I think we just used a simple yes. Yes, we did. So there we go. Yeah. Question mark, click save. Okay, and that should allow only ones through where they've clicked yes to that question. That will keep our list from issues, from people marking emails as spam, getting upset, and so on. So yeah, that is the full workflow. What you would need to do now is publish your form. Let's go back here, click publish. There's the link to the live form. So again, let's give it a quick test. Test to name about this form. Yes. Okay, submit. There we go. Okay, that's been received. Now, we haven't actually switched this on. On my other one, I have it set to run immediately as data arrives. But for this one, I'm just going to run it manually. And we'll use existing data. Okay, as you can see, it's running through, so it's already been successfully processed from the jot form, and it's got my information, name, email, inquiry, and yeah, everything there. So let's see what happens. So now we're waiting 90 seconds for the sleep module to complete, to give it that very human look and feel. And I will probably edit this out just to make it faster and better, more efficient video. But yeah, we're waiting for this to go through. Okay, so it's completed the sleep module and now it is running through the email module. A few seconds, that's done. It's added to the mailing list and added to the Google Sheets. So yeah, let's have a look. There we go. As you can see, all the data has successfully arrived in the sheet. So it's been captured in the CRM. Let's see if we've added it to Kit. Yeah, I think that's the one. And let's look at how it looks in the email. Okay, here we go. This is from hello. And as you can see, it sent it just as we set up. Thanks for your inquiry, Sam. And the message that we set up, our email module, has now been sent to the lead automatically after 90 seconds. That is complete. So yeah, you can download this template in the description of the video, and you can extend this, you can tweak it, you can play around with it to make it fit your exact business specifications. If you want to try this out for yourself, the free template is waiting for you in the description below. And you'll also find a link there where you can join the waitlist for my upcoming AI automation and visibility community. I'd love to have you in early once it launches. And if you found this tutorial helpful, please feel free to hit like to give it a nice boost, and subscribe so you don't miss the next build. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.